What's going on YouTube? Overwatch here, coming at you guys with another deck profile. This time I have a deck profile on the Dracopals. Now, since the hit on the April 11th ban list, this deck has lost a lot of consistency. But I feel there are now two ways you can go with this deck. So without further ado, let's get into the deck profile. Now I'm going to start off by saying what the two different ways for this deck could possibly be. Now, I have two theories in mind. First off, we have the majespecters. Now, this deck didn't take any hits except for Wavering Eyes on the ban list. So this deck still has like pretty much 90% of its consistency with Raccoon. Plus it has the ability to search out counter traps or a pseudo solemn strike, which they have. So this deck is gonna have some form of like ingenuity with the Dracopals, so they'll be imported in some way. Next, the Magicians. Now, the deck did lose a little bit of consistency in terms of losing 2 Wisdom Eyes, but you have to think about it, this deck still has 3 Pendulum Call, which is still a really good spell card to search you out 2 Pendulum monsters for your Pendulum Scales. So it allows you to be able to get a Pendulum Scale up really quickly, plus it has a searchable out to domain. So in this deck profile I'm going to be bringing you the dark version of the Dracopals. So to start off with, I have the 2 Armageddon Knight, the 1 Zephyros, and the 1 Dragon. Now this is in here just for that extra out to domain, plus like it gives you good turn 2 plays. And this deck is rather now designed to go second over anything. So that's for the first non-pendulum monsters. Next, for the last 2, we have 1 Mask Chameleon and 1 Xavier Palmaru. Palmaru is just here for a searchable card to summon the Jury Beast with. That's it for the non-pendulum monsters. Now for the Dracos, we have the 2 Master, the 2 Vector, and the 1 Luster. Now I feel like this is just the best ratio to go with now, just because like you have less targets, like you have less Ignisters to be able to summon these with, you have less Draco face-offs to be able to get these with, and Luster is only at 1, so we can only run 1 of it. Now I do run Painful Decision, so there is a way for me to be able to search these 4 cards out if necessary. Next, for the Performer Pals, we have the Triple Pendulum Sorcerer, because this guy didn't get hit and this card is still broken because it just searches you any Performer Pal monsters including your Monkey Board and Joker. Speaking of the Devils, we have Monkey Board and Joker because they're at 1 and they are just broken. 2 Silver Core as an extra search target, an extra high scale, and the 300 attack is also sometimes pretty good. Plus it's a dark monster, so it's just there for the dark engine. Next, 1 Wizard Draw and 2 D-Turtle. Now I like this ratio now because obviously we don't have Wavering Eyes anymore, so there is like less of a need for us to be able to pop one of our scales so that we don't get Wavering Eyes for 4. Plus being able to keep like a Pendulum Scale up is always really good. I also like the fact that this gives you the draw like before you Pendulum Summon, whereas you have to Pendulum Summon before you get the draw off of this card. So the card which you draw off of this could actually provide some use for you before you Pendulum Summon. And that's it for the Performer Pals. Next we have the Magician engine, because I prefer the Magician engine over the majespecter engine. Mostly because like I feel its search card is just slightly better than like having the counter traps. So I'd rather have like the extra consistency and the extra outs to domain over anything. So first off we have Triple Dracopals, because it's a level 4, it's a low scale, and you don't really use its pendulum effect, it's just there as a level 4 low scale. Next, the 1 Wisdom Eye, because it's at 1, and the 2 Dragon Pit. Now, originally when I was testing this before the April 11th ban list, it was working out as a really consistent deck. But I did have the 2 Wisdom Eye and the 2 Dracopals, 1 Dragon Pit, so I was running a 3-2 1 ratio. So now I've lost 2 of this card, I decided to bump up each of these by 1. Just so that I have like the extra out to domain and an extra card just to search with. That's it for the Magician monsters. Now for the spells, we have 3 Pendulum Call because this card is still really good. Now, it gives you access to 2 Pendulum monsters, and even if you don't place them in your Pendulum scale, they are still level 4 monsters which you can still Pendulum summon. So it's giving you 2 extra monsters to either place in your scale or use as Pendulum summon fodder. 1 Draco Face-Off because it's at 1. 1 Rotor to search out Armageddon Knight. 2 Pendulum Rising. Now this card, it's really good. Like, it allows you to summon Sorcerer without wasting a Pendulum summon on it. So where you would normally place 2 level 4 monsters in your scales, and then Pendulum summon maybe Sorcerer, and then send the 2 level 4s to your extra deck and search out Joker and Monkey Board, and then you'd summon your Joker, get your wizard draws and all that kind of stuff. And like, now you've only got 2 monsters on board, which is only 1 XYZ summon. Whereas, if you can get Armageddon Knight on the field, send Zephyros, place a scale, bounce scale, Zephyros, then Pendulum, and like activate your 2 scales, Pendulum Rising for Pendulum Sorcerer, get your 2 scales back, and then activate them and then Pendulum Summon, you've got like 4 monsters on board to be able to use like 4 XYZ fodder. So that's like a Giant Hand and a Raffle Seer, or just a Magister and a Raffle Seer. It just gives you like the extra kind of like fodder to use so that you don't have to use up your Pendulum Summon first. Next we have the 2 Painful Decision. This is here to search out Master or Vector. Triple Instant Fusion, because Instant Fusion didn't get hit, so even though we run 1 Norden, you want the 3 Instant Fusion just to be there for consistency. Plus you'll run an Emerald in the extra deck to be able to send Norden back. And the 1 Treacherous Trap Hole and the Bottomless for our standard trap cards for Raffle Seer. Next, the extra deck. Now the extra deck is still under kind of like testing, and I want to change like a few things with it. So the 1 Ignister, the 1 Dynaster, and the 1 Magister. Now I'll probably end up bumping this card up to 2, because this card is going to become like more important, be able to get other level 4s out of your extra deck for rank 4 plays. So you can get that extra Master or the extra Luster out of your extra deck to either go into Ignister, Dynaster, or just make a rank 4. Next, Raffle Seer for your Treacherous and Bottomless. Kind of Feral Imps to search out Masquerade or X-Saber Palmaru. The 1 Dweller for Phantom Knights and Burning Abyss. The 1 Castell to spin whatever you want back. The 1 Diamond Eye Wolf to pop back row. The 1 Giant Hand because it's in gold rare now. The 1 Gaga Cowboy for game. For your darks, the 1 Master Key Beetle and the 1 Nightmare. This is mostly for things like Burning Abyss now, so you can like set one of their Burning Abyss monsters face down and then destroy the rest. This is going to be a Digusto Emerald when I get one eventually, just so you can shuffle things back from your graveyard, which is becoming more important now because of course you only run 1 copy of this guy. So shuffling this card back is just really important, so you have another use out of him. The 1 Elder Entity Norden because it's at 1, and the 1 Naturia Beast because we have a Palmaru. Well, that's it for the deck profile. Do leave a like, post a comment on what changes you think I could make to the deck. Now, like, just give this deck a go, see what you think. Now, I like it. I think it's good. Like, I was testing out a build with the Magicians in before the ban list hit, and it was like really consistent. Like, it was really good. Like, it just had easy outs to the main and everything. So, and that was what I wanted in the deck. Just something that outed domain, and Dragon Pit is what gives you that out to domain. So, like I said, tell me what you think. Post a comment on any changes. post a comment on what other decks you would like to see, and I hope you enjoyed the deck profile.